mentioned on your tours that the Chinese audience were a lot more interested in that personal story. So how does that relate to doing business with them as well?
Well, I think when you're able to connect with someone, like in China, it's talked a lot about guanxi, which is, the relationship that you have with someone. When you have a personable connection with someone, or when you know their personality or what they stand for, then it's memorable. And so I guess, why do I continue to do Chinese social media? One, because I love it and I think it's really fun. But two, like, I'm reinforcing that I am a bridge between Australia and China. And so, I'm always trying to talk about Australian things. And for me, now I'm predominantly doing property, but property is, if you're selling an office building, or if you're selling an apartment, it's really a lifestyle, and it's everything that relates to that. And so I guess when people think about property and they think about Melbourne or think about Australia, well, hopefully they think about me too.
So you've clearly built a USP, a business model that is clear. Australia, China bridge. How did you develop that with your social media and media career?
I think I've started with, again, this is right back 10 years ago when we were in Shanghai, and it started from a passion, and I just enjoyed just sharing information. And so I just would keep sharing information, and I slowly grew followers. And then a couple of TV shows opportunities came up. And so I've done one which is called Chinese Bridge, and that's where they get, it's almost like an Iron Man or an Iron Person contest for people from all around the world. You've got people from every country really in the world, and then you go through all these Chinese poetry and singing and all these competitions, and it goes for about a month. And so I went from doing that competition, and which is broadcast on TV in China, and then from that came up a couple of other TV show opportunities, and everything from the date show in China, 非诚勿扰, to then doing a couple of other ones where, like, we even had one where it's called 妻子的浪漫旅行, and they had 5 famous Chinese actresses, including the leading actress from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon,
Jiangsu.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And then so they came over, the group of them, and to Australia, and they needed a local guide. Well, I had run the walking tour business in the past, and I was active on Chinese social media. So then they asked me to be the guide. So I took them around Melbourne to some of the places there too as well. And then the most recent TV show that I've done was one called非正式会谈, which is where you've got 10 representatives from around the world. And so you've got Australia, you've got Japan, you've got Russia, and we all sit around a table and we kind of debate and talk about topics which are relevant to generally Chinese youth. But what's really unique about that one was that I was playing myself. So I was just being myself, and of course, like the most interesting version of myself, but talking about my own stories. And so my history of being involved in property in Melbourne and being really passionate about Melbourne and always saying that Melbourne's the most liberal city in the world, that was a fantastic platform and opportunity to keep talking about that. And then I find by doing these, the TV shows or Chinese social media and hosting events too as well, which are Chinese events, then you're staying relevant and you're meeting new people too as well. And so opportunities come from that, and by having that sort of connection with different people.
So how did you grow your social media into what it is today? Because clearly you've built a social media channel that is based on passion. You had some vision, but you weren't like, I'm going to be famous. So how did you do that?
I think you touched on it too. It started off just as a passion, just as sharing things about my life and my stories and everything that I'm involved in. And then slowly, as that following grew, well, then I thought, okay, well, then I can actually use it as a fairly powerful channel to communicate, and be it walking tour, or be it hosting events, or be it property, like I can all market and communicate that through these channels. And in terms of my strategy, it's always come from a position of passion. But for me, because I know my position is being a bridge or being that channel between Australia and China. And like, I'm not American, I'm not British, I'm not French, and so I don't know too much about France. I don't know too much about other countries, but I do know Australia, and I really know Melbourne, and I'm really passionate about it. So with this social media stuff, I think it was also a recognition that it's not like you're just going to have a viral video or a viral post and that's all you need to do. It's consistent posting and consistent communication, and then people start to identify and say, this person is that thought leader. Or when someone's thinking about Melbourne, and they're from China, I'm hoping that they're going to think about me, or even students when they come to Australia to study, and if they're from China, they can use my content as a means through which to understand and explore the city. And then, that sort of platform, then probably from that comes in, maybe if they're looking to invest or they're looking to buy property, then they're going to think of me too. And fortunately, China's really like property. So I think it's worked quite well that I'm passionate about China and passionate about sort of social media stuff, and then also passionate about property, and it seems to work and have good synergies.
If you love the Panda Profits and you watch this channel, please show some Panda love and become a part of the growing number of viewers on this channel that have hit that subscribe button. It helps a lot, and the bigger the channel, the bigger it gets.